What's going on, guys? Hope you're all staying healthy and having a great day. So in this video, I'm going to be ripping apart this 3060 rig, and I want to throw it on this 6 GPU Veddah frame. As you guys have seen in a previous video, this was off my very first rig, my GTX 1660 Ti rig. The first cards I ever purchased, the first rig I ever set up. So this is going to be kind of a noob's guide, not so much, but more or less, I'm just going to show you guys me putting all 3060s on this rig. I will explain how to hook everything up. The CPU is already installed. There's plenty of videos on doing that. I believe I have a very old video, which is a noob's guide for a mining rig. I will drop a link above. But this rig is basically set up for the cards. So the only thing we're missing is the PCIe Express connections going from here to the risers. Obviously the GPUs. We have already installed the 1200 watt P2 PSU. I have not disassembled anything. So the RAM is in, the CPU is in. I have the CPU powered by the CPU cable going to the power supply, and then we have the 24 pin powering the motherboard going to the power supply as well. And then the H110 Pro motherboard requires a Molex. So the Molex is connected here and over here. So it's basically the beginning and the end of all the PCIe Express slots. That basically just is supplemental power to power all of these slots. So that's going back to the correct spot on that PSU as well. Alright, so I guess my main motivation behind doing this is these cards right now are on a RevTech motherboard, and this HiveOS glitch that we just did for the 3060s, it works on 1, 2, or 3 cards, but I can't get them all to glitch out at the same time on this RevTech board. I think this has something to do with it. So, main plan is put all these on that Veddah frame on a regular motherboard to see if it makes a difference. That's going to be the plan. So let me rip this thing apart. I'll get them all laid out right here. I'll hook them up and then we will go from there. Alright, so she's all disassembled and we have all the cards up here ready to go. So I just left all the USBs attached. All I need to do is add the PCIe Express connection. So I will take those out of the bags. These cards right here actually have 2 8-pin adapters for whatever reason. It's kind of ridiculous for a 3060, but I have to have a splitter on the top of each card. So there's one 8-pin connection now on all these, and then we're going to have a 6-pin for each riser. So over here on these cords coming from the power supply, the VGA cords, these are the ones you use for the PCIe connections, like your graphics cards or your risers. These cables actually have a splitter built onto them straight from EVGA. It comes with the power supply. I believe you only get a couple of these, but I had a few of these kicking around and I had a couple extra cords that I could add to this one. So every one of these cords or cables are going to have a 6+2 pin, and then it's going to have the 6-pin whip off the side of it. So I will put the 6-pin to the riser and this 6+2 pin, which makes it an 8-pin, over here to this splitter going to the top of the cards. So that should take care of each GPU, because there's 6 GPUs. I have 6 cords that are split. So let me get all of these thrown up here and we will start connecting all the cables. Alright, as you guys can see, we have all of these mounted on the Veddah frame, and I actually flipped it around just so it was easy for me to plug everything in. So basically the VGA cable coming off the back of the PSU that has the 8-pin or the 6+2 and the branch off 6-pin. I have 6-pin going to the PCIe riser, and we have the 8-pin going to the splitter that takes care of the 2 ports on top of the GPU. Alright, so then I ran the power cables along the bottom of the frame. I like to take the bottom VGA cables and run them as far as I can to the furthest cards on these type of frames. And then I just do some basic cable management, try to keep things straight. And then I end up doubling back for the first 2 cards because the cable's a little longer than it needs to be. As you can see, everything has some sort of basic cable management. So on these fans, right, this is how I hook them up. Basically, you just daisy chain all of the Molexes together because they're all pass-throughs. Then we could take this 6-pin right here. So more or less, it's exactly the same cable as the one you use for the H110 Pro board to power the Molexes on it. So 6-pin obviously into the correct port on the P2 power supply. Then the Molex side just goes into the back half to power all these fans. So that's how I power these, and then I just zip tie it right here to the side. So let me do that, and then I'm going to flip this around. We're going to get all these USBs into the PCIe connections, into the 1X slots, and we'll put one in the main slot so I can hook the screen up to it, and we'll go from there. Alright, so I flipped the rig around, and I plugged in all the PCIe connections, so now that's all set. Did some basic cable management, just kind of zip tied them up along the back side, and we have all these things plugged in. So really last final step is to put the HiveOS USB into the motherboard and peel off the sticker because it is no longer rig number 1 GTX 1660 Ti. Alright, so now I'm going to move this entire rig onto the floor right here with that Ethernet connection and the power cable, so we can get this thing up and hashing. Alright, so I just plugged in the Ethernet, just plugged in the PSU, and turn this on, hit the button on the motherboard, and all these cards are firing up. I'm just going to shut this off. This screen's not going to work because I don't have the HDMI plugged into this card like I'm supposed to. I just don't have the extra whip. I think I left it at the crypto mining garage. So what I'm going to do now is get into HiveOS. We're going to make sure this thing's hashing right, up and running, and we'll go from there. Alright guys, so that's pretty much it. You can see that she's up and running right around 37 megahash per card, so that's the 75% unlock. I am going to further try the testing of that fan glitch to see if I can get all 6 of these cards to register within the H110 motherboard and using that glitch. So just stay tuned for that. I'll do my best to get a video out as soon as possible. This isn't going to be the end location for this rig, obviously. It's in front of my furnace and I can't have that. So once I get a new location with the Ethernet cable and a PDU cable going from my PDU over there, I will make an update video of where this thing is going to rest. My guess on where I'm going to end up putting this card is probably in my garage. I think I'm going to run a brand new 100 amp service, and I'm going to run basically a wire along the ceiling through into my garage. So I guess we'll have to just wait and see. But until then guys, stay safe, and I'll see you guys next time.